Showcase. Hello, everybody. We're live today. Welcome to Modeler Monday. This is the 10th episode in the live stream series Modeler Mondays, every other Monday unless scheduled otherwise at 1 p.m. EST. Modeler Mondays provides tips, tricks, tutorials, and an insight into a professional's unique workflows while creating in both VR and on desktop in Adobe Substance 3D Modeler. As you can see, we have a bit of a different layout today. We are including your chats on screen. It's over here. So please say hello, please make suggestions, please chat about stuff. We're more than happy to see what people have to suggest, especially in today's very interactive exhibit with our favorite guest, David Mellor. Hey, David, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, we've managed to procure him from Adobe MAX channel, where he last did his what was it? His tutorial? Can you say that? What is it? A panel?
Tutorial, demonstration, something. It was a lot of things in one, for sure.
Yeah, it was very cool. And so we're super happy to have him on here. David, give us a little bit of an introduction of yourself.
Yeah, well, hey guys, for those who don't know me, my name is David Mellor. Online I go by MoGraph. I am a senior motion designer at Wieden & Kennedy currently, and I've been a big fan of making characters and other fun things using Substance Modeler.
Excellent. Yeah, and for those who don't know me, my name is Val Dufour. I also go by foxxr. I'm the community manager for 3D Substance Modeler, Substance 3D Modeler. You think I would know the program that I community manage for, but here we are. Yeah, and so I would love to go back into a little bit of David's portfolio. He's shown us some of these sculpts that he's made, and I think it's really important that we go through them because they're beautifully done. Tell us a little bit about your background too. How do you go from motion graphics and then suddenly come into Substance 3D Modeler and create sculpts like these? It's unreal.
I don't know. It's kind of all related, right? So in motion graphics, I do a lot of 3D stuff, whether it's product animations or something that's a little bit more abstract. I had never done VR modeling before, except for maybe one project where I tried out Adobe Medium after I got my headset for the first time. And then I just stopped doing that for a while, stuck to just modeling in 3D on my desktop. And then when Modeler came out, I was like, oh, this kind of has a fun hybrid. I can work on my desktop, I can work in VR. So I thought I'd give it a shot. And then once I did, I was just like, oh, I really like VR. This is fun.
Oh, that's great.
So I also like to do illustrations or doodling. So doing this was a great way to get the best of both worlds. I could create, using very broad gestural strokes. I can kind of do whatever I want in this canvas of mine. So it was a great way to kind of get out that creative energy and also just come up with new ideas for motion design projects.
That's excellent. Yeah. And so was this your first time using virtual reality for 3D sculpting? Was with Substance 3D Modeler?
It was Adobe Medium for one project.
Oh, cool.
And then I just kind of stopped doing it for a while. And then when the announcement came from Modeler for the beta, I was like, oh, I'll just give it a shot.
Give it a try. Yeah. Oh, that's super cool. Wait, so do you? Yeah, you haven't gone back. I was gonna say, did you ever? Because we do have it's not necessarily controversial, but there are a lot of people who are they're diehard Team Medium and diehard Team Modeler. There's some people that are still in between too, but I'm curious to know what your feelings are on that.
I mean, because I've used Modeler mostly, I'd probably have to say Team Modeler, but I know there's a lot of folks who love Medium, and I know there's some features that are still in Medium that haven't made it to Modeler yet. So hopefully just a matter of time before we see some of those features coming to Modeler as well.
Excellent. Yeah. And we're super happy to see where this is going. For those who are not aware, Modeler is now a part of the Substance 3D suite officially. So you can pick up a copy of Substance 3D Modeler when you subscribe to the suite by Adobe. We can toss the link in the chat at some point today. And we have a really exciting stream today because David has agreed to VR Sculpt online. He's going to start a character from scratch, is it?
Yeah, I'm going to start a character from scratch, and I'm kind of at the mercy of chat. So if you guys have any ideas for features, silhouettes, any of that, throw them in the chat, and Val will lead them to me while I'm in VR, and try to make something together.
Yeah, it's going to be excellent. So while David has his headset on, he won't actually be able to see us. So I'll be the ones calling out what you guys are reading. So if you're like, I want to see someone with glasses, say so in the chat, and David will do his best to please. But yeah, it's really chill stream for those who are just really interested.
Keep it PG, please.
Yeah, keep it PG. Don't go crazy. But for those who are really interested to see like what the software is capable of, we really do have a treat with David. He's very good at this. So without further ado, take it away, and we will transition to our
give me
showcase slide.
A quick moment to get this all set up and make sure it's not going to crash or anything.
Oh, good.
You know how technology is. I can talk a little bit about my Max story as well.
Oh yeah, you definitely should talk about your Max story. Yeah. So for those who weren't aware, David did a tutorial demonstration at Max. I think we said that earlier. But he showcased a couple of character creations that he was making. So tell us a little bit about your experience with live streams there, David.
Oh boy, yeah, I did the live stream, and then I also did like what are they called? Just a session. And the session was a very interesting experience because I usually do VR modeling on a desktop computer, so I had no idea if a laptop could handle it. I was given a laptop, and I did some testing like the day before, and I was like, oh, this is working okay. And then it started to do this weird sort of stuttering thing, and I was like, oh no, please don't ruin my presentation. And so I talked to someone about it and said, hey, can we do some quick troubleshooting? Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, and of course. It worked while we were troubleshooting. I was like, oh yeah, it's fine now. Nothing's gonna happen. Oh yeah. He gave me a spare laptop just in case. And the next day when I actually had my presentation, lo and behold, the laptop that I originally had, it started stuttering again, and it was doing like this weird and I just thought, oh no, this is just gonna ruin my I was anxious. This is my first big presentation of doing something like this. Yeah. And I was just like, okay, how about I was going to take questions at the end, but instead I just took questions during the middle of it while I was trying to get set up with this spare laptop. Mm-hmm. So I was taking questions. I was keeping everything going, and thankfully that backup laptop did the trick. It worked. Perfect. I was able to field all the questions that people had while I was getting it set up, so there was no huge lull in the session. And because I had something made on the original laptop, mm-hmm. I had to play a little bit of catch up, and I just rapidly built the same thing on the new laptop, so people got to see a little taste of how fast I can actually work when I'm not trying to slow down and do the step-by-step for each component. So yeah, in the end it worked out great, and sounds like people really like the presentation overall. Perfect. Yeah. And for anyone who's curious on watching it, we can post the link in chat around what David did at Max, because I believe that video footage is still kicking around, right? Maybe not the one of your laptop crashing, but you did more than one demonstration. No, yeah. When I did the Adobe Live, I made sure to use the working laptop. Yeah. Daniel. Oh, sorry. Carry on. Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, Daniel says that he wants to see something that lives in the water. That is it feels like sculpt improv right now. Yeah. Okay. So, so do we want to go with like a fish or like an eel, amphibian? Yeah. What do we feel like, folks? Fish, eel, amphibian. Yeah. I've made axolotl little characters before. I love an axolotl. Do something like that as a little base. Oh, we've got water dragon, which is pretty close to axolotl. Water dragon. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's start with that. Okay. So, are we on my screen now? Yeah. You're on your screen. Okay. You can see, and we'll continue to field questions. And for those who are asking stuff about VR handling high poly models, I love this question comes up because I feel like people are still really anxious around how many polys can my computer handle. We're all just traumatized perpetually. And so as we say at Max,
3D modeler is voxels, not polys, which is kind of powerful in that sense. So it can handle some pretty high tries, I guess it would be. I think it's calculated a little bit differently, but I don't think you've ever had any issues going into high poly topology, have you, David?
Not really. And like my computer that I use at home is like, it's about 6 years old, so it's got an older graphics card, and it still works fine.
Oh.
So let's see. Water dragon. I kind of want to give it like a catfish face or something like that, like with whiskers.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Wispy. Yeah.
A little catfish. I'm going to read you the others just because I think that they're hilarious. Somebody has suggested bioluminescence, which I think is cool, but I don't think we can do textures to that effect yet. But
I could give it like little like scales or something on that. The idea is that I want to make this model during the stream, and then I can take it into like Cinema 4D and render it up, and maybe I can add like some bioluminescent horns or something like that. So
that would be sick. Yeah.
Get a little bit of everything in there.
Yeah, Modeler is a beast. Someone says, "Let the man sculpt, please." Leave David alone. Let him sculpt. He's just doing his best. Joshua says, it's insane. I've had over 1 billion tries in Modeler running. And that is 100% true. Joshua Aiton, he was on our Modeler Mondays not too long ago. He did a sculpt recently that it was a couple trillion, was it? It was the highest known count in 3D modelers so far. We can definitely
history.
Also, in modeler history anyway, but it's a huge file, and it rendered in UE5 pretty well, I believe.
Oh yeah, I haven't done a whole lot of Unreal Engine stuff, but that's definitely something I'm gonna try out. A buddy of mine, I still need to hit him up because he wants to take one of my models that I've done before and bring it into Unreal. So
that'd be sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had a couple people create their models and then bring them into Unreal and then animate and turn them into full video game type stuff in there. So that's really cool. Maybe we'll showcase that in future if people are interested. And if anyone has any questions or comments, or they want to say, hey, I want to see this next on Modeler Monday, post it below. I read all of these things.
Speaking of that, though, I know that there's a creative pair called Yonk Online that has been they do a lot of stuff in Medium, and I know that they've made he's working on a game using Unreal and Medium.
Oh, that's very cool.
It's looking pretty cool.
Yeah, Yonk has got some really colorful, beautiful stuff. They are also on Instagram if anybody wants to follow them. That's YONK. Yonk. I think that where are they? The Netherlands? New Zealand?
I think so. They were, funny enough, they were like an inspiration to start playing with Modeler as well. Was like, oh, I want to do stuff that like they do because they make it look just so fun and freeform. So I wanted to try.
Yeah, they do have some incredible stuff. Also, apologies if you guys can hear my dog snoring under my desk. I promise. People think I'm flatulent. I promise I'm not. It's just dog snoring.
I'm gonna have like a tail to this.
Yeah. Here we go. Do you find it easier to model in VR rather than using a mouse or a Wacom? That's what
I find it easier to use VR.
Yeah. Why is that? I know that some people actually prefer desktop. Is there a reason why you like VR over this?
So, like, I've used a slew of 3D programs before. I've used C4D, I've used ZBrush, all that kind of stuff. There's just something about, especially when manipulating a model, that you can just pull it and manipulate it in any sort of way without having to be tied to just, a 2D screen, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And I just really like that about VR modeling. So
yeah. I noticed you're not using the Quest headset. What are you on?
Oh, this is a Rift S.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, this is I wouldn't say old school, but it's older.
Yeah, it's an older model, which is really interesting because I know that a lot of people that do use Modeler are on Quest or Quest 2 at the moment, and so they'll Airlink in some cases. So it's kind of nice to see somebody with an S who makes me feel at home.
I didn't know about the Air. You call it Airlink feature?
Airlink, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about the airlink feature when I picked up my Rift S, because I bought this like last year.
Oh, okay, yeah. The Rift S is supposedly, it's got some really powerful stuff going on for it, right? Like there's less latency. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just a more
Yeah,
powerful
and
device.
I talked to a buddy before about like whether I should get the Rift S or the Quest, and he was like, "Yeah, you should go with the Rift S. It's going to be a bit more comfortable." But I demoed at Max with a Rift S, or not a Rift S, with a Quest, and I thought it was fine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching you put down clay right now. It's interesting because most of our guests that we have go from prims, but it seems like you've started from like a really organic, like almost medium way where you draw your clay down. Is that
Yeah.
the right way to
I kind of do a
describe
bit
that?
of both. So sometimes I'll start with like, you know, dropping down shapes. Like I'll probably do that for more detailed parts, but just to get a general shape, like we're doing this water dragon catfish thing. So
Yeah.
I'm just kind of drawing down like a general serpentine body, and then I'm pulling out like places to put scales and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Oh wait, do you have a favorite tool to use in Modeler? I love asking this question because everybody's always got like some favorite.
Oh yes, yes I do. I like using this tool, which is they call it the spline tool, but it's also like the muscle brush. So you can use this to build muscles and other features like that on an object. And then I love using linking, like object linking.
Yeah, object linking is incredible. For those who aren't aware, object linking is like a really powerful instancing ability so that you can make something and then later on you can change it. Maybe we can get David to chat about what that looks like later on.
Oh yeah, I might be able to show that in a second. I'm gonna make like a. So going back to the bioluminescent request that we had, I think I'll make some of these fins on this water dragon, a little bioluminescent, but I'll make one of these guys, and then I'll copy it everywhere else on the.
Okay, so are you all working on one layer for your is that a fin?
Yeah. And then this is a separate layer.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So you've scoped out.
Yeah, so then I can just take this, shrink it down. So linking, you make a link right here, and now I can have instant copies of it. So I can go in, and if I want to, I don't know, like make these look a little bit more curlier or frilly, it'll update on the other ones, which is an amazing feature.
We love doing less work. This is like the lazy man's, lazy game devs tool.
Don't call it lazy. It's efficient.
It's good to be lazy, I think. Lazy has a bad connotation. I think that if you're lazy and smart, that's like as good as it's going to get. Oh, yeah. Microsoft Marquette, somebody said. Yes.
Work smarter, not harder.
Reminiscent. I like when you're able to put in multiple layers together, but it still has that almost seamless meld to it. But it's got like the ridge because it's not quite apart, like the actual polys or voxels aren't meshing together.
Yeah. I'm gonna flatten this little bit right here.
Oh yeah. So you're a motion graphics artist.
Yes.
Yeah. That means that you do a fair bit of animation, am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how does Modeler, or does Modeler actually come into your workflow at all? Is this more of like your hobbyist tool, or is this something that you actually see in your day-to-day?
This has been more of a hobby, but I have been trying to integrate it more into my day-to-day workflow.
Yeah.
So for example, if I'm doing something a little bit more like character oriented or abstract, I'll jump into this and sculpt out a character. Or so as a motion designer at Widen, I kind of wear a couple different hats and more like a 3D generalist sense.
Okay, yeah.
So I kind of get to do a little bit of everything, which I think is awesome. And so there'll be some times where like they need like 3D assets for a poster or a social post. And when I've been able to, I'll, like, depending on if the style calls for it, I'll make something in Modeler, and it'll take me like half the time or even quicker than just modeling it with a mouse and keyboard in a traditional 3D program. These things are looking a little bit too long.
Oh yeah. Do you ever use a tablet at all for your? I'm just curious. Like hardware agnostic for the most part, because I feel like everybody uses something different. But I'm just curious.
Yeah, I have a tablet, and I'll use that when I'm not in VR land, because I do like working with that. I just like working with anything that's not a mouse, honestly.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Remember way back in the early days of the internet where people started like, drawing stuff in Photoshop and you just have your mouse and you're trying to make things work. Oh, Bruce has a question for you. He says, do you have any advice for MoGraph artists that are looking to improve on their skills and speed up their workflow?
Try out VR. One thing that I love about VR is that I'm not, like, especially Modeler, is that I'm not really concerned about topology or poly count, which may or may not be a good thing. But a lot of my stuff, I'm just like free form sculpting, and then I'll bring it into like ZBrush to process the topology. Sometimes it'll work well in Modeler itself, but I just prefer to be a little bit more specific with my polys.
Okay.
And I just find that that works a little bit better.
Yeah. Cedric says a 3D space mouse plus a 3D button mouse is a lifesaver.
Ooh, yes, true.
Not wrong.
But yeah, as comparatively to like what I've done in 3D production, I definitely feel like this is a faster way to work, because I'm not clicking and dragging keyboard shortcuts. It's just kind of all, moving with my hands.
Yeah. It's all right there in front of you. Robster wants to know, how do you decide when to use a new layer for a new part of the model versus keeping things in one layer?
Usually it depends on like the type of material I'm going to use for it, or even just like a separate color. So like, for example, this is just the base body. I don't want the fins to be like merged into that necessarily. I want to have a little bit more control over that. If I want to go back later and change that around, I totally can, but I just like to keep everything as separated as possible. And then I kind of work outside in. So I build everything separately. And then if I feel like I want certain parts to merge together, then I can do that in here easily.
So pros and cons then between keeping things in separate layers versus one layer. I think that you have a preference for separate layers. I also personally have a preference for separate layers, but David, I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah. It really just comes down to being like non-destructive in your modeling workflow. So like, for example, I'm just building this separate fin here, but I don't have to worry about messing up the tail or anything that I've already kind of locked in and agreed that I like. So like, I can go back and I can tweak the tail so it flips up a little bit, and then I can move this new tail fin in there.
Yeah.
And that's looking a lot better now.
That's really cool. That does look really good. It came together pretty quick. I think it's only been 15 minutes that you've built that.
Oh, has it really been? I haven't been keeping track of time.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're at 1:30, so you've got half an hour for official streams. But if the crowd wants us to go on a little longer, we might consider it. Yeah, and so my opinion too for keeping things in separate layers versus one layer, I think that there is multiple ways to work too. It really depends on where you're coming from. Multiple layers lets you, as who said it? I think that Fried Pixels was saying when merged, it picks up the highest res, and that's true. So you're dealing with like resolution issues, or not issues, but resolution differences in some ways. Yeah, but in the sense of like people who really enjoy blocking, where it's just I'm putting down a clay cube and I'm just going to destructively cut into this thing and see what I can get for a general shape. That's also a way in which people work that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So it really depends on your workflow in some cases too, but I think most people prefer having multiple layers and groups just because they're able to have that ability to shift and change and still have everything come together if they need to.
Yeah.
And so we also have some questions around how do you animate these types of models if you do?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I just like to keep them as a 3D illustration. So for this one, I'll keep it as a 3D illustration, but if I want it to be animated, I can make like A or a T pose character and bring it into Mixamo for some quick rigging. Or if I wanted to make this kind of slither around, I would have made a straight model, but I came into this wanting to make it like an actual illustration. And then a lot of the stuff that I've been doing recently has been like a mix of this, Cinema, and Procreate. I'll add like some 2D elements on top of that. Or sometimes I could do like some frame by frame animation if I wanted to.
Thumbs up for everyone who can hear my dog snorting below my desk. I'm so sorry. So Matthew wants to know, would you say this program benefits from VR? And I think that, like, personally, I would say yes, just because you do have all of that freedom to move your hands and your tools in a way that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So you're not just working on like in 3D on a 2D plane, which I feel like you've only got a certain amount of control. Whereas David, like, we can see him grabbing and warping. Like when he pulls something up, he can just twist his wrist and change the toggle, and he can get different kinds of shapes. But I'll also let you talk to that, David, if you prefer VR or what the strengths are in VR.
That's exactly why I like doing this. I love being able to not like one thing that I struggle with in like a standard 3D program. And I think someone said this before too, that a 3D mouse would be super beneficial. Mm-hmm. I don't like moving my camera around a whole bunch by hand. With this, my head is the camera, so that's one like major thing that I don't have to deal with. And so I can just focus on creating this character, moving it around with just my wrist. It just feels it's a much more fluid way to work.
Yeah.
So that's why I prefer that's my pro for VR modeling.
Expensive, folks. Tell your companies. It'll speed up my workflow. That and it's just fun personally. Like I've always really enjoyed VR modeling. I came from 3D generalism too. Like I started out in Maya. Anyone who's had to poly model like a full character knows that it can be painful in spots. And then ZBrush was like an incredible uplift from there. And then now we're seeing like Medium and 3D Modeler coming up with VR capability. And I think that just being able to work in 3D with 3D is really powerful. Yeah. And so we also have some questions around, can you mask pieces of the model? Currently, you can't mask pieces, but there are workarounds just depending on workflow. Have you ever felt the need to mask anything, David?
Not yet. But like I've done masking in ZBrush, and I can definitely see the value for something like that in here.
Yeah.
So that would be a feature request.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, in some cases, I know that like the team is looking into whether or not they should include stuff. If people are interested, we do have a Discord community that the link will be posted in near the end of the chat. There is a MD suggestions bin. So if you do have any suggestions for what you would like to see in Modeler, that is the place where everything goes to live. And so if you think of something cool and you just want to know if somebody has suggested it before, you can also search in there too. Bruce wants to know, with VR, do you get more of a workout rather than carpal tunnel from using a mouse? Do you have carpal tunnel?
No. And I'm also sitting down, so I wouldn't really say I'm getting a workout, but I don't know, I'm flexing my arms a little bit. So
yeah, I guess you could do like Beat Saber in between modeling.
Yeah.
For those who don't know what Beat Saber is, it's a fun little...
Yeah, Beat Saber is the modeler workout.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I'm taking a break. And then on your Discord it says, so-and-so has started up Beat Saber.
Beat Saber.
Will Modeler have a layer tree like other Adobe products? You know, that is an incredible question, Matthew. I'm not entirely sure if it will yet. But if you're able to join the community or if you keep up with us, we'll be more than happy to continue to let you know. Bruce wants to know, is there a symmetry tool? I saw you placing eyes by hand.
I did place eyes by hand, and that's just because of the nature of how I started this model. But yes, there is a symmetry tool. I can demonstrate that really quickly. So it's down here. It's these symmetry settings here. So I can toggle that, and it looks like it's parented to something. So symmetry. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, there is symmetry. Do you work with symmetry at all?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I will, but I do like to keep it pretty free-form.
It's really
a lot of times I'll be rendering in like one angle, like this, and so I'll just kind of work off of that perspective. So sometimes I'll fudge things, like, you know, the fin could go up a little bit more if I'm rendering at this angle, so I can go now. Like, you won't see the backside of that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll make this a link.
It's really interesting because you can really see like your influence as a MoGraph artist because all of your sculpts look so fluid. Is there any like way you is there any way that you draw inspiration from like nature, or you're a Pinterest person, or how does that work?
Definitely a Pinterest person. Yeah. I have an unhealthy amount of Pinterest boards that I look to for references.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah. I just kind of get inspiration from everywhere, though, like things that interest me in the moment, things that interested me as a kid, like cartoons, video games, all that kind of stuff, and just
that's great.
Build that into my own visual style.
Yeah. For those wondering, David is a big Pokemon fan, as we all are, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, you'll see.
I totally did not spend the whole weekend playing that.
The new one?
That new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need the other Substance apps. Is there a way to get only Modeler? So currently, to get Modeler, you will need to purchase through the Substance suite apps. We are aware that there are people that want to just purchase Modeler itself. There is talk of a Steam release. The details are being worked out currently. So if you just want to pick up a copy of Modeler, you can do that through Steam. But just keep up with us for the next little bit, and we'll announce that when that comes out. Bruce says, "Oh my OMG!" He wants the friend code, so I'm sure that we can get into that later. I'll share some Twitter and Instagram profiles in a little bit, so we can talk to David after the fact.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone who wants to hit me up on any of those platforms, please do.
For real, yeah. Same with me. Those are some big old teeth.
Yeah, big old.
I would hate to run into that guy late at night. Have you seen hagfish before?
No, what's that?
Oh, so for those who don't know, I like real animals. Those are cool. I like Pokemon too, but hagfish are like this I wouldn't say deep sea water creature. I'm not sure how deep. Like, they live on the floor of the ocean is what I'm trying to say. And they have like these really scary mouths with lots of teeth. And they also
the ones that have the antennas too.
I don't know, to be honest with you. No, I think those are nudibranches. I might be saying that wrong. Nudibranch. I don't know. I spend a lot of time reading. Nobody actually says these words to me. So, yeah, but there's like little slug bunnies and really cool underwater stuff. But no, hagfishes are they're like eels that are slimier, but have just giant teeth and they're one black hole of a mouth. I'll have to show you a photo later. You can pin it to your Pinterest under Nightmare Fuel.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There's that one... is it an eel or a fish that has like two jaws or something like that?
Oh yeah, I've seen that, and it's like very alien looking. Sweet.
Yeah, I think it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not about that either. Terrifying.
Give him some whiskers.
I'm staying very quiet as I watch this whisker thing happen. Ooh.
Yeah.
You You must have impeccable writing in cursive.
Absolutely not.
Are you using a stabilizer or a lazy brush?
Yeah, I'm using the what is it, steady?
Yeah.
Steady brush.
There you go.
What else should I add to this guy? Kind of got the base form down.
Yeah. Comment what we should add to our base form bioluminescent sea dragon. I say our like I'm the one that's making it. David's sea dragon. I'm just here to chat.
While people are coming up with awesome ideas, I will give this guy some eyes. Look at the dog.
Oh, can you still hear him? Yeah. So
yeah.
every day at 1 p.m. doesn't matter the day, Modeler Mondays or not, you can hear him snoring under my desk. Matthew says scales! Exclamation point.
Scales. All right.
Yeah, let's see if we can crash the program. Let's see how many polys we can get in here before things go wrong.
Okay. Scales. Could do like. I'm trying to think if I could do. I can maybe etch some scales in some areas.
Yeah.
So kind of like keeping it very simple. Not simple. Yeah, simple. But yeah, let's make a scale. Let's make a.
So talk me through your thought process while you're doing this. What are you considering when you hear the word scales? Are you thinking, oh, that would be a better alpha map, or are you thinking like, no, actually?
Yeah, exactly. Like I've seen like Geo, like he'll etch in scales on the actual like reptiles or something that he makes, or he'll do like, make a single scale and then copy that across parts of it. And I think I want to do copies, so I'll make a single scale.
Yeah, somebody in our community Discord recently posted a frog that they made, or a toad, and they added a bunch of little like scaly round bits to the underside of it, and it looks incredible. Anytime that anybody does scales in Modeler, it's always a joy to watch.
Nice.
Yeah, there's something very satisfying about looking at like multiple scales, one on top of the other.
Yeah. It's got like a little bit of a ridge to the scale.
Oh yeah.
Just gonna pinch it down.
And so to pinch it, you're grabbing it and then just resizing down, right?
Yeah, I'm just using the elastic tool and then stretching it down.
Oh, Warrior says, have you tried Gravity Sketch VR app?
I have not.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting, actually. I thought you might have.
I maybe tried it once. Actually, no, I'll take that back. I have tried it once. I just didn't get very far with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I found that, who was it? Nick actually did a Gravity Sketch. Nick, who David here co-hosted for a little while back. If you look through the Modeler Monday playlist, you can find him. He did a Gravity Sketch video presentation not too long ago. I think it was last week.
Yeah, I think I tried it out with him actually.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gravity Sketch is an incredible tool. It's very poly modeling in my opinion. So if you're really interested in getting like your shapes in, or you're doing like product design, that kind of stuff, I think that there's a lot of good stuff that Gravity Sketch does. And also they have some really powerful, what's it called? Like VR intuitive controls. Yeah. But in my opinion, I think that Modeler is more for people who want to concept quickly, who want to be able to kind of toss down. Like it really is an artist tool for those who are really interested in just doing things and still having like a general clay kind of a feel. I think that's a really rare thing.
Yeah. So we got some scales going on in here.
Very cool.
They're all links, and the great thing is I can scale them up and down individually. I can flip them on their axis, and they all keep that instance data.
Oh yeah.
So just making like a nice little crest with these scales.
Oh, sick. It's like a fluffy mohawk.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Scale those scales, Colin says.
Yeah. So we'll do.
Yeah, it moves really quick once you have one down. Matthew says scales 30 seconds later and boom.
Yeah.
You need sound effects in here anytime you do instance as well.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
Let's bring some scales down here. Just kind of fit that to this part of the body too.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, like we've been doing this for what, half an hour now?
Yeah, we are at I think we started at 1:15. Yeah, so we're at 1:45 now.
Yeah, so we're getting some considerable detail pretty quickly in here.
Mm-hmm. Candace says, love everything Mellor creates in VR. That is 100% true. He does some excellent work.
Thanks, Wind.
Is there a way to be able to have a browser up inside the app so you can follow along with people as you're modeling? If you're using the Oculus application, you should be able to pin your desktop. Joshua Iton in his video for Modeler Mondays demonstrates that and how he's able to pin his homepage. Do you actually do that at all, David?
Sometimes, yeah. I've had some issues before where like when I take off the headset for a second, or it crashes or something like that, then it just eliminates all my pinned windows and stuff like that. So I've kind of learned to give up on that sometimes. But if I have a little bit of faith in it, then I'll pin some windows and throw up some references and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been pretty lucky so far where I've been able to open up my pinned windows and they've been okay. Like I haven't actually experienced any crashes, but I'm also not like pushing topology to death either while having those windows up. Yeah, but I find that, if you wanted to watch a YouTube video per se and you had your desktop pinned in the back of your modeler, you could viably watch that as you're sculpting, which is a great way to actually learn the tool if you want to. But in some cases, it is fun to just like go in with no reference and see what you get on the outside.
Yeah, most of my stuff is just free forming for the day, see what I can come up with. Kind of like this. It adds more detail to these fin objects we got here. Sorry for anyone who might be getting dizzy with me spinning this all around, by the way.
It's actually interesting. I feel like some people have concerns around VR sculpting and whether or not they'll get ill. Yeah. Have you ever felt ill in VR at all?
Not really. That was something I was concerned about when I first started playing with this, and it's actually been fine.
Okay. Do you find that having the grid open helps because you can kind of ground yourself, like using a horizon, or are you just like typically not a motion sick person?
I do get motion sick. I would say, the grid probably helps a bit.
Yeah, because I when I first started modeling in VR, I used Quill, and you'd have like those experiences. I think Goro Fujita, is that how you say his name? He does some incredible animations.
Oh yes.
Yeah. For anyone who's just curious around like other VR sculpting tools, but I would get so sick in Quill because there's no baseline as to where you're actually working on. So if you're just drawing, you literally are just drawing in 3D space around you.
Yeah, it gets a little wild sometimes.
Yeah. Fried Pixel says, this is looking so good. And Keyframe says, Ayo. Ayo, indeed.
Ayo, Keyframe. Ayo, Fried Pixels. Yeah, check out Fried Pixels' work too. He does some great stuff. He's been making like masks and characters, and he does some stuff in Quill too.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Fried Pixels.
Yeah. My hype man.
Oh, that's nice.
There we go. That's a nicer looking. Yeah.
Yeah. It actually maintained the ridge, hey, which I was surprised when you pulled your elasticity down.
That's what. There was a really simple but fun technique that I discovered while I was showing people at MAX.
Oh yeah.
Which is to create some simple hair. So what I did was I just took a cube and I made 2 like intersecting cubes. So you got the grain of the hair along that, and then you just take the elastic tool and you just pinch it way down.
Oh dang!
On either side.
That's magic to watch. It really is. It feels so good. Keyframe says that was satisfying to watch.
Yeah. Yes. So you got like this cool hair piece that you can then copy around.
Oh, that's so cool.
And you can style each one individually if you want. So I can give like a little flip right here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was just like a fun little.
The anime fangirl in me is having a moment.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Goku hair for days.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's put some of these detailed.
Yeah, for those who are enjoying this video, because we're getting a lot of just like, that's awesome comments. And it's true, it is awesome. It's so cool to watch David doing this stuff. Thumbs up on this video, please, so that other people also know that it's very cool to watch.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. Oh, I have been having extreme issues opening the app as of late. Instacrash. Any tips? Yeah, so there are some tips that we can see, or that you can exact upon. Hop into the community Discord. We do have a community chat around those kinds of crashes. And we do have people that are actively looking at those boards. When I say people, I mean me. I'm actively looking at those boards, and I'm the one that pushes them in some cases into the bug stream. So yeah, please let us know what kinds of issues you're having, and we'll get right to you. Keyframe says, "Who's David?" Just kidding. Who is he? Who is this man?
Who is he?
I don't know if you've ever seen Catbug before. He's from Bravest Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Who is this man? Anyway, for those who are fans of that show. Khan says, great for soft serve with the hair trick. Yes. It's very like,
yes, absolutely.
Robster wants to know, what's a couple of features that you think would really be awesome to see in Modeler in the future? All right. Wish list. Let's go.
All right, wish list.
What do you want for Christmas?
So a while ago, I made a character that had a glass helmet. The problem I ran into was that I couldn't see inside the helmet while I was making what I wanted to do, like a face or something, and make sure it like fit and didn't intersect with the walls and stuff like that. So if there's even a way, you know how in ZBrush they have like the ghost feature where you can kind of see inside, that'd be awesome. So that's a feature request number 1. Yeah. Because this program is, I mean, it's digital clay. The first thing my mind jumps to is like claymation and stop motion. So, if there was a way in the future to do like stop motion style of 3D animation in here, and then you could kick that out as like an Alembic file or something like that, and render it somewhere else, that could be super cool too.
Yeah, that'd be excellent. I would love to see that actually.
Yeah. So those are major David requests.
Any hints on when the 2023 version of Substance is going to drop? Nope, we don't know. You should actually, I'll post it into chat now, so that we have, because there are multiple people that are kind of asking questions. They're all similar to this right now. So what I posted into the chat is the community Discord for live events, sculpt-togethers, resources, and more. Free to join. Join that. The actual channel that people are looking for, if they're looking for support, is MB support. I'll find it in there. So Daniel says, David, really fun designs. Are you going to put color on it?
Absolutely. Okay. And I'll actually kind of give a little bit of insight into how I do that.
Oh yeah.
Just
Look
a
at those
sec.
eyebrows. What is this, Schitt's Creek? Incredible show, though, by the way.
Yeah. All right. Well, how are we looking on one? How are we looking on time? And two, how are we looking on how do people feel about this?
Yeah, we're looking great on time. Tyler says, "You, David," which is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are looking at about 5 more minutes officially. If you want to run over
Okay.
a little bit, that's
Yeah.
totally fine. But...
So what I like to do is, I actually got to add my little signature swirl thing that I do in here. I'll show that really quick first, and then I'll go into color. So let's do just no. I'm kind of swirling around with it. So.
Yeah, and for those who are trying to join the Discord right now, let me also generate another chat for you to be able to do that.
So I'll shoot that down. I should be saving a lot more than I have been, but thankfully this hasn't crashed. So I'll drop down like just a stroke basically of this like line. I'll make it pretty low res so it's easy to manipulate. And then I'll just use that elastic tool and kind of pinch some edges, curl it around, and just make these fun, like wispy clouds. I'll kind of inflate it in areas, shrink it in other areas. It's just a really fun way to make some kind of like a cool accent at the end of it.
Oh, very cool.
I'm in love with this. I'm definitely going to render this afterward.
Excellent. Yeah, this is like a very you kind of signature. Like we do see a lot of like these really fluid forms in a lot of your illustrative sculpts.
Yeah, so that's looking. I would say that's looking pretty complete, don't you think?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Looking good. Sea creature.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll save that. And then as far as color and texturing, so after I finish my model, I'll usually bring it into ZBrush just to be a little bit more specific with topology. Sometimes I'll get a good result straight out of Modeler, but just in case I don't, I'll just bring it into ZBrush just to, have these areas have less polys, have spots like that have a little bit more, stuff like that. But as far as coloring goes, once I'm done before I do that, I'll create kind of black and white gradients.
Mm-hmm.
And then what that allows me to do is, I'll try with just this one. So the great thing about Lynx 2 is that it inherits the color on all of them too.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll make a very soft brush and I'll bring in black, and then I'll just kind of stamp in kind of this nice, this gradient fade happening here. And then I'll bring this monochrome version into Cinema, and I will, because when you bring in the object from Modeler, it'll inherit the vertex colors when it converts it to a mesh. And so it'll just use a color ramp or remap that in Cinema 4D to get whatever color I want, really. Or like if I want to make this like a transparent thing, it works like that too.
Oh, cool.
So I can use it kind of like a color map or an opacity map. Opacity?
One of those. Opacity. I like that. Opacity.
Opacity, wackity. Yeah. So I'll go in here and I'll.
Okay.
If I wanted to make these whiskers like kind of dark near the front but glow at the end, or maybe it's like a blue to yellow type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do that. So I'll just go in and I'll color everything white. Oh, geez.
Oh, good. We have Bruce, and we'll take this as our last question for today, but thank you for everybody who's asking questions. It's been super fun to have you in. Bruce wants to know, how do you go about choosing an angle to render out?
I really just kind of rotate. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, my computer's freezing a little bit. Okay, there we go.
Save. Control.
Save your work. Save your work. I will just kind of look around in here and just get a general idea of how I want this to look in the final composition. So I'll probably render it like this. Maybe I'll tweak it a little bit once I get into like my rendering program, Cinema. But usually it's just kind of like experimenting around. I keep it really freeform.
Oh yeah. Yeah, in some cases we've seen like David's work on Twitter where he'll post multiple referencing or multiple angles to the image that he's created. Yeah. I think it's just artistic choice at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely that. This needs to be a little bit lower res now.
All right, very cool. And then you'll kick that out into C4D, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you texture in C4D as well?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, you have some really incredible like transparencies when we see that.
So make this like a little darker at the top. Do like a nice fade at the bottom. Have these kind of wispy bits have darker tips. Same with the tongue. And
final touches. He's looking good.
Yeah. Thanks everyone who had suggestions for this character, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, we love a good instance.
There we go.
Check that out. That was what, like 40 minutes worth of work?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of advantages in keeping things in layers. Yeah, as opposed to trying to like paint around things and then you're accidentally painting the wrong voxels bit.
I'm gonna take this off now. Oh boy.
Very cool. All right.
See my sweaty face one more time.
You get the ring of the VR ring around your eyes. I think you're okay.
No, I'm good.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Those are just tired rings.
Oh dear. There are some cases where people have what we call squishy head syndrome in community, where you need to wear like a hat or something so that you can support your VR headset. Yeah. Or you just come out and you've got like these really aggressive rings. But anyway, that's a tangent.
Squishy head. Yeah.
So thumbs up for squishy head syndrome.
Yeah.
But thanks everybody for joining today. Thanks David for coming on. That was super cool.
Thanks for having me.
We would love to also see what happens with your render in the final, because we know that you do like beautiful color work as well. Do you have any last words before we hop on out of here?
No, just thank you for having me. I'll probably get this posted in a couple hours, all rendered and looking pretty, and I'll post that on social media. For those who don't follow me and want to, my handles on Twitter and Instagram are both Mellor MoGraph. And thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We also have just posted David's socials, so go follow him, see how it turns out in finality. And also for those artists who are really curious around Substance 3D Modeler, feel free to join the community, poke around. We also have Painter, Stager, all of the apps within that same Discord. So it's like a one place for 3D artists to check stuff out. And have a great day, everybody. We'll see you later.